The Umbrella Academy was a breakout hit for Netflix, pulling in viewers and generating buzz on its debut in early 2019. It's no surprise that the show is returning for a second season, especially considering the cliffhanger that closed the first. But what can we expect when the Academy comes back? Right now, there's no official release date for the second season of The Umbrella Academy, but we do know one is coming. When can we expect it? Well, we have a theory. In January 2018, comic creators Gerard Way and Gabriel Ba shared a picture from the first day of production. The show itself premiered just over a year later, in February 2019. Season 2 got underway in June 2019. If we take the first season as a model, that means we can hopefully expect Season 2 somewhere in the second half of 2020.
I don't know, you have a better idea?
Obviously, it's not a perfect estimate. We'll have an update when we get an official word, but fans can probably pencil in late 2020 until further notice. All of Reginald Hargreaves' children will be back for the second season, played by the same actors. The official Twitter account for the Umbrella Academy shared a video on June 15, 2019, showing the first script reading for the second season. We knew that the entire principal cast was returning for the second season of Umbrella Academy, but we've been in the dark as to what newbies might be coming aboard. No longer. In September, Netflix announced the 3 new cast members that we will see in the show's second season: Yusuf Gatewood, Marin Ireland, and Rito Aya. Gatewood was recently seen as Famine, one of the 4 horsemen in Amazon Prime's Good Omens adaptation. In Umbrella Academy, he will play Raymond, who Netflix describes as a charismatic born leader. If you remember Famine's smooth talking from Good Omens, that sounds perfectly suited for Gatewood. Ireland, who will play Sissy, has dozens of credits to her name, but Sneaky Pete is one of the most likely to ring some bells. Aya will play Leela, described in a press release as a chameleon who can be as brilliant or insane as the situation requires. She has appeared in several BBC shows, as well as the AMC series Humans. Interestingly, none of these characters have appeared in the Umbrella Academy comics. At least not yet. Even with these announcements, we're still in the dark about where Season 2's story is headed. We also don't know which other major players from the first season might be back. Time-traveling assassins Cha-Cha and Hazel had significant roles in the first season, as did Reginald Hargreaves, Agnes, and the Handler. We could very well see some of them again, but due to the events of the finale, none of these characters will be absolutely essential in carrying the second season's plot forward.
I'm done with all this madness. Time to start over.
The end of the Umbrella Academy's first season saw most of our siblings joining together to try to stop their sister Vanya in her full badass white violin persona from bringing about the apocalypse. They did not succeed, with their efforts to stop Vanya inadvertently sending a wave of energy towards the moon. Pieces of the moon began to rain down, destroying the world just as the siblings jumped back in time. This ending differs a bit from the first volume of the comic, but it followed the same basic path. It seems likely that Season 2 will at least draw inspiration from the second volume of the comic Dallas. This story deals with the Academy trying to assassinate JFK in order to prevent the apocalypse, somehow. Considering they were unable to stop the world from ending at the end of the first season, traveling back in time and giving it another go seems like a fairly solid plan. However, the story going forward may deviate from the comics. The first episode of the second season is titled Right Back Where We Started. So while it seems a given that the siblings are going back to the past, when it comes to where exactly, we'll have to wait and see. The Umbrella Academy's first season was a huge hit for Netflix. As long as it keeps people tuned to the streaming platform, Netflix will probably find a way to keep financing the show, and there's a lot of comic material to keep them going. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Gerard Way and showrunner Steve Blackman talked about the planned story. Way said that he has 8 volumes of comic stories planned, and that Blackman has an outline of major plot points. However, the first season of the show drew elements from both the first and second volumes, so a 1 volume equals 1 season formula doesn't necessarily work here. The publication schedule of the Umbrella Academy comics has been a bit all over the place. The first issue was released in 2007, with the first 2 volumes, Apocalypse Suite and Dallas, collected in their entirety by the end of 2008. The third and to date final collected Umbrella Academy story is Hotel Oblivion. Despite its announcement immediately after the conclusion of Dallas, Hotel Oblivion didn't begin publication until 2018. So why the long delay?
Our world is changing. Has changed.
Comic creator Gerard Way is also a musician, best known for his work with My Chemical Romance. Though the band broke up in 2013, he has remained busy with solo work. and he's also written numerous other comic book projects. But that doesn't mean he's abandoned the Umbrella Academy story. Wade told The Hollywood Reporter that he is planning on 8 volumes, and he hopes that the comics can stay ahead of the show. Speaking to Radio Times, Wade said that the overall goal is basically to not fall into the trap that hit Game of Thrones. As he put it, the goal for us is to stay ahead of the show, and since we're on series 3 of the comics, we are now ahead of the show. While we wait for a second season of the show, we can likely expect to start hearing news about the 4th volume of the books. According to Wade, the idea with the comic is to go right from Series 3, take a 3 to 4 month break, then go right into Series 4. There is story there and it's all planned out. Obviously, the most logical prediction about where the Umbrella Academy's second season is headed would be the JFK assassination. However, there are plenty of other mysteries from the pages of the books that the show could turn to. The show touched on it, but a little more backstory about Sir Reginald would be nice, especially considering that, in the comics, we're told that he's an alien almost immediately. The last episode of the first season gave some hints towards this, but never really addressed it. Along those lines, that revelation would also raise another obvious question. What about all the other mystery children? There are supposedly 42 of them, and Reginald enlisted 7 to begin his academy. Season 2 could certainly catch up with some of those other kids. The other looming possibility is the Hotel Oblivion, and specifically, the character of John Perseus. The new season will need a good villain, and Perseus seems like a likely candidate, especially if he works more in the background of the second season before becoming an even bigger threat in Season 3. The Umbrella Academy has dealt with other villains, but Perseus seems like the best bet for television. So while the comics can give us hints about where the story of the show is going, the only way we'll know for sure what happens is to wait and watch Season 2 unfold. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about your favorite Netflix shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.